America is Egypt. Whatever do you mean? But yes, this teaching, in my research, it's been very difficult to figure out exactly where or who started this teachings. It's possible that it came from two sources, but I know that it is now touted by two specific groups. And within those two groups, those are the primary two sources. The first one would be the black people in America who are claiming Moorish identity, Moorish nationality. So, about 100 years ago, you had Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali taught that America is Egypt. Now, I'm not exactly sure through my research of him if he taught it as more of an allegorical type of thing, saying that the way black people are in Egypt is the way that the Israelites were supposedly in Egypt. But is a little, I'm not exactly sure where he got it from, since Noble Drew Ali believed that all African Americans, black people in America, were Moorish, were descendants of the Barbers, the Moorish, which is an interesting concept within itself. And he believed that our natural heritage is to practice Islam. So the fact that he would think about the Israelites being in Egypt and see Egypt as such a disdained place, I don't know the Quran well enough to know if the Quran speaks of Egypt in the same way, but since Muslims do accept the Old Testament, then it would make sense. But from Noble Drew Ali, that is where one of the teachings of America is Egypt comes from. And like I said, I don't know much about that particular man. His belief that we should all be Muslim, that we all come from the Moors, is asinine, considering the fact that there was no such thing as a Moor until 700 CE. Prior to that, it was different Arab tribes, and those Arab tribes came together, creating the Arab nation and conquering all of North Africa, the Iberian Peninsula, and the Italian Peninsula. They were heavily involved in the trans-Sahara slave trade, and because of their Islamic beliefs, you were able to buy your way out of being a slave, and you received better taxation if you were Muslim. And many of the Southern Africans who were captured and enslaved became Moors, became part of their society, became Islamic. So it is not our natural heritage unless you're just starting from 700 CE, but my heritage goes further back than that, as every person heritage goes further back than 700 BCE. I mean CE. So to that, it will be Noble Drew Ali. The other group is the Power Rangers. That's right, the Hebrew Israelites. The Hebrew Israelites, and not all of them, but there are certain sects of Hebrew Israelites who teach that America is Egypt, that the Nile River is actually the Mississippi River, although you can trace the Mississippi River and at no point does it look like the Nile. And then you have certain sects of Hebrew Israelites who claim that the Mississippi River is the Euphrates River, and there's no point when you trace that river that it fits what the Euphrates River coming out of the Garden of Eden. So at no point does it make any sense whatsoever. The only reason it makes sense is because they want to force Deuteronomy, I believe it's 28:63 or 68. They want to force this idea that your children will be sold into slavery and sailed away on ships and be slaves for 400 years, and there will be no one to redeem them, no one to buy them, no buyers. But we know that when Titus conquered Jerusalem, Judea, in 70 CE, that he dispersed the Judite Israelite people all throughout the Roman Empire, and a heavy portion of them were sent to Egypt. And when they got there weren't many people who was trying to buy them. Many people ran to Egypt and trying to sell themselves into slavery, to which is what Deuteronomy says, is that they would try to sell themselves into slavery and there would not be anyone to buy them. The transatlantic slave trade, there was no one trying to sell themselves, trying to escape Africa. They were sold and forced to come to America. They were already sold the first time in coming, or kidnapped, and then once they got to the America, there were plenty of buyers. So it doesn't fit. This is just an attempt to force this fictitious narrative to fit into the true history that we know that happened. So they just hate being black. They just hate being African, having African descents. They just hate the fact that their ancestors, our ancestors, were enslaved in this country for over 200 years and then struggled through the Jim Crow era for another 200 years. They just hate the thought of that, and so they want to distance themselves from it. And so they make up bullshit by saying that America is Egypt. Oh, there are pyramids in America. There are pyramids all over the world. For that account, I can say that Mexico was Egypt, or Suriname is Egypt. They all got pyramids. You see what I'm saying? But what do you guys think? Comment, like, share, and subscribe. And always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.